I wish more women spoke about the power play in a male-dominated field. We don't talk about it enough. We don't. So let me back up. Let me back up. I've always, just now that I have team members that are younger than me, and it's a bit of a shock. Like, oh, I actually have people I'm older than. So there's, first of all, that's, who is she? Why is she my boss? And then having to kind of assert yourself without being a black angry woman. So there's that. But then when you work in tech, especially, where a lot of the people you're speaking to are men. So I remember I had, my team member had a customer, and they said, if you want to get anything out of this chief from one of the big banks, they usually hang out in his house Friday at 11.
11 in the morning?
Should be to be better. 11 in the night, so yeah. That's how you get anything out of that guy. And they kept saying it. So I said, when can we meet him? Oh no, and I said, we can't. I'm going to his house later in the night. Those kind of conversations, and you're like, how do I navigate this?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of This Queen Says. My name is Hannatu Adegboyega, and I'll be sitting down with other cutesy old girls to share the stories that shaped us, the moments that almost broke us, and the wisdom we've gathered along the way. I'd love for you to think of this as a good old gisting session between old friends, those ones that make you feel seen, understood, and are invaluable in reminding us that we're absolutely not alone. And speaking about not being alone, I'm really happy to have, I don't even know how to describe this chick. It's like, I didn't know her at QC. The way we came to know each other was quite divine. It was through church. And lo and behold, one of my personal people, what's the thing? Person, whatever that thing is.
He's in a pod.
She has become one of those people. And surprise, surprise, she went to QC. But maybe it's not so much of a surprise considering we get on, and she's a pretty decent chick. So my guest, Hannatu, I said your name. I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself, but by way of the first question, which is, we have just met at a QC OG reunion. Please tell me about yourself in 30 seconds.
Hi, my name is Hannatu Adegboyega. I build and I lead high-performing sales teams. I love to help companies choose the best enterprise solution for them. Right now, my focus is on central banks and regulators. And I love to speak to people. I love to help people. I like showing people other ways of doing things and just opening their eyes to doing things. So that's me.
Hannatu does like to talk. Hannatu, you do. Let's be honest.
Thank you.
But you say sense. You do say sense.
Thank you. I'm honored that I say sense. I'm a salesperson through and through, so I do like to talk. I do like to meet with people, and I do love to connect with people. So here I am connecting with you.
Oh, but Hannatu and I are part of the same prayer group, so we probably chat quite frequently during the week. But the thing I find really exciting about this is that we're probably going to talk about things that we wouldn't normally talk about.
Me too.
Hannatu is one of those people that I feel she's deep, man. So we're going to get into some of that deepness. Or not, there's no pressure. There's no pressure.
We will.
So kicking things off, what set are you actually?
99.
Oh, baby. I'm 96. Like, even though 3 years isn't anything, but it is.
It is something.
That's just, if we were in QC.
You were senior anytime.
Gosh,
yeah.
That does make me feel old.
Should I start calling you senior?
Oh, no, please don't. Don't. It's like when somebody calls me auntie. I was talking to another friend on a podcast, and I spoke about the first time somebody had called me mummy. First and only time somebody had called me mummy.
Oh my God.
Exactly. Oh my God. It was one of those moments. It shook me to my core. I still haven't recovered, as you can tell. So, Hannatu, my lovely, what would you say to yourself as a JS1 girl when I was a senior girl?
Rub it in, why don't you? Rub it in. Oh my God, just one. First thing I'll probably tell myself is stop crying, because I have no concrete memories of just one. My mother and I, actually, I'm an only child. My mother and I have no concrete memories of my just one because both of us were crying. I thought it was punishment. She thought she had made a mistake. So I would tell myself, stop crying. chin up, make friends, because these are really going to be your friends at the end of the day. These are my friends now. Try and remember some stuff. So when they're talking about some things, my friends, I'm like, I don't remember. I can't remember when it happened. Just because I was too busy crying and just feeling sorry for myself.
Why were you crying? Do you remember why?
Because I was homesick. I was in boarding house. It was my first time away. We lived in 1004 then. The original plan was for me to go to American International, which was literally across the road, as in the same compound as 1004. So my plan was I'd swing by home for lunch, right? And then my grandmother, because she knows this child is spoiled already, flies all the way from Kaduna to Lagos to tell my mother, Husseina, if this girl goes to this school, we'll lose her forever. Literally, almost exact words. God rest her soul. So my mother took it into consideration and started the whole process of, okay, maybe she should go into a boarding house. What's the best one? Queen's College, let's go. So yeah, it was extremely unexpected. And to me, at that time, it was a punishment.
So in hindsight, do you think it was the best?
Oh yes. Oh yes. Boarding house saved me. Oh, boarding
Saved
house saved
you.
me. Yes. Yes. It breaks my heart, honestly, that I may not be able to send my children to boarding house because it's not the same anymore. Boarding house taught me discipline. It taught me, just taught me everything. It taught me that life did not revolve around my only child self, right? It taught me how to sweep, taught me how to mop. It taught me that there are people that will punish me and there are people that will look out for you. So yeah, honestly, boarding house saved me.
Gosh. And does your mom feel the same?
Well, since I turned out right, I would like to think so. I tell my mom a lot that it's like God just said, let me pity you. This is your only child. Let her not be wayward and in the world.
Let her not lost.
Let her be responsible. And let her not miss. I remember during, and I know we're diverting from the question, but I remember during my law school call to bar, because I read law, fun fact, and I'm not practicing no. Yep. After my law school call to bar, one of my mom's oldest friends called her and said, in Pidgin, Mama Hannatu, we thank God Hannatu no shameless.
Hey. Hey.
I'm telling you. So, when you've lived your life not knowing everybody's holding their breath, that this woman that had this only child that she put all her energy in, what's this child just misses the ray, and there's no plan B. I always tell people, I say maybe that's why I'm so responsible. I don't have a younger brother my mother can fall back on. I don't have a younger sister. It's just me. So I can't afford to miss, So yeah. See, we've gone off topic. That's what me and you do. That's what you and I do.
We haven't gone off topic. There is no journey or track or what have you. I love it. So does that mean there was pressure on you? Because I say this because I was an only child for a long period of time. My brother was 15 years younger. Mm-hmm. And there was pressure on me, I think, to not let my parents down. Try to be number one at school or do really well. Try to be a good child. Try not to give them reason to be ashamed or embarrassed or have to explain anything. Was there pressure on you as well?
There was, mainly from my grandmother, because I grew up a lot with my grandmother. So there was a lot of pressure on me just because I was the child that she trained in her old age, and she wanted to make sure that it wasn't me that was spoiled or wayward, because they would blame her, they would blame my mother, and my mother was a career woman. There's so many dynamics that everybody was mindful of, and nobody wanted to tip that balance. So I look at my life now, and I look at my life as a mother now, and I think I see some things that my mother used to do, and I do them now, and I'm like, okay, now I get it. And just because my mother didn't want me to spoil, or as we at that time, follow man, because that was the thing then. Honestly, that was the thing then. So I tell people, I say, now I get it. When I remember my mother would say, don't borrow this thing. And she would not immediately, but 2 days later, maybe get it for me. It was just to have that mentality of, I can provide what you need. So don't be blindsided by anything you think somebody else could give you. So for me, I think that's how she balanced it out. There was the pressure of, yes, you need to succeed. All this has been given to you. But there was also that I've given you these things so that your eye is not outside. Do you understand?
Yeah.
My mother gave me my first car. My mother gave me my first drink of alcohol because she said, I don't want anybody to distract you outside or to deceive you outside. Right? So I used to tell people, I say, things like when they're having middle of the night parties when I was in university, I would tell them, don't worry, I will go home and leave from my house to the party. Because my mother has told me, leave from the house. I need to know where you are. I don't want to hear that it was in the middle of the night. You died on Kaduna Zaria Road. So things like that. So yes, pressure, but mainly that knowledge that you are supported and you are loved at home. Nothing less is expected of you. One of my favorite things I like to say is, to whom much is given, much is expected. When you're giving that much, and it's the same thing I tell my children now, not to put pressure on them, but I tell them that I have made your life, to the best of our ability, as comfortable as possible, so that you have time to focus. I ask of one thing for you, to be the best you can be. Is it pressure? It's the way we were raised. It's what I know. You kind of just want the people around you to be the best. And I guess that's what my grandmother and my mother wanted for me as well.
I love that. I love the fact that your mum gave you your first sip of alcohol.
Mm-hmm. And not a sip, she gave me the whole bottle.
So I apologize. Sorry, I'm sorry. It reminds me of something that a friend would say when she would take her daughter traveling or take her to expensive restaurants, even though she was 10, 11, 12. And she would always say, because I don't want any dusty ass son to take my daughter to Pizza Hut, for example, when her head is turned.
Yep. Can I give you a side story?
Of course you can. I love side stories. I love your side stories.
When I remember when I first met my husband, well, he was still toasting me then. And because I'm so close to him, really close to my mom, sometimes too close to her. I remember I told her, oh, there's this guy that's calling me. And I remember literally exactly, he doesn't have a car. And my mother said, I've created a monster. Because I had a car. So I was just thinking, how can this young man be toasting me? And he doesn't have a car, and I have a car. Like, make it make sense. I'm younger than him. He's working. Why? And she just thought, and she said it out loud, I've created a monster. Do you understand? So it's to that extent that I was giving the things I was giving. So that somebody crusty old son wasn't going to impress me.
I love that. Oh, poor husband. But now he has a car, I'm assuming.
Yes. Yes, he does.
I remember the first boy I brought home, and bless him, he bought a bottle of wine. He came for Christmas lunch. And my mom was so chuffed. Like, oh my gosh, well brought up man. He knows not to come to house empty-handed. My dad was like, does he think I don't have wine in my house?
Oh my God.
What kind of nonsense? I was like, wow. You just can't please some people, the poor boy.
No. You can't please fathers.
This question I ask people what they would tell their JS1 selves. I don't know what the answer is because I have never asked myself that. And I'm not going to ponder it now because I don't have an answer.
Go think about it.
I will. I think I had fun in my JS1. I don't remember. My memory is terrible. I was a day student.
Ah, there you go.
I do remember being intimidated by the girls in SS3 because for me, they were gorgeous. They were shapely. They had the hips and they wore the skirts. And the way they wore their berets was just so slick. I could always tell JS1 girls because they just looked so timid and tiny and
confused.
And confused.
Oh, no, it was confusing. JS1 was.
Going from primary 6 or primary 5, depending when you left, where you were like the queens of the castle, you knew everything, you were on top, you had your friends, and then being thrust into this whole space where you didn't know anyone.
For someone like me that was coming from Kaduna, it was a new city, new state, new people, new friends. A lot of people from Queen's College knew themselves either from Corona or from other schools. So I was like just lost. I was drowning. Hence the tears.
How old were you when you started JS1?
Oof, that's a good question. I can't count.
11, 12?
Maybe. If I'm 99, if we count back 6, this is how they'll catch us. What's 6?
Quick math. Quick math.
I don't do quick math. I need a calculator. All this time we're laughing, I still cannot think about it because I'm just like, okay, come on. 13, isn't that 13? 9 minus 6. It should be 13. It's 1 past 12. 12 or 13. Let's just say 12 or 13, I think. Hope I'm not disgracing myself. Don't tell my team. I tell people I don't understand numbers. I understand money. If you tell me this is how much it will cost, my job is to say, this is my starting point. This is my walk away. I understand that kind of number. That's money.
Fine.
I understand commissions. Hmm.
All right. So if we do some more quick math and we jump ahead to 25, what would Hannatu of today tell her 25-year-old self?
Um, that's a good question. What would I tell my 25-year-old self?
Do you remember what you were like at 25?
So I'm going to tell you two different answers. At that time, current 25, I would have probably told myself nothing much really, because that was a good period of my life. It was planning for wedding. I was in NYSC. I was traveling with my mom. It was a very nice period. I didn't think anything. Yeah. In retrospect, when I look back, I think I would tell my 25-year-old self to get ready. And this is where we get to the deep parts. I got married at 26, thought, oh, I'm going to wait a year, enjoy my husband, and then have a child at 27. Actually, my plan was my grandmother had with my mom at 29. My mom had me at 29. I'm going to have a child at 29 too. And God said, ha ha ha, he who sits in heaven laughs. Right? So there was that waiting season. If I could tell myself at 25 that this is what's ahead of you, it would be to get ready, gird your loins, learn to trust, and be still. So that's what I would tell myself in preparation of what would have been ahead. But at that period, at that time, I'd have probably told myself, carry on. I was working with a nice, cool company in Abuja where my mother had kind of arranged. So I had time off. I was still traveling with her. I was paying my allowance. Am I allowed to say this in real life? Sorting out some guys with my allowance so I didn't have to stay and show up. And at that time, life was really good, right? So, like I said, looking in front and just saying, if I had known that this was what was going to be ahead of me 2, 3 years down the line, I would tell myself, get ready. Just kind of brace yourself.
Because you had said trust. Trust who? Trust yourself, trust your instincts, trust your mum, trust God.
Honestly, for me, it's trust God. I tell people, you've heard it several times on our prayer group, I'm a bit of a, I don't like to use the word control freak, but I like to know. I like to know what the plan is. I love to know the plan, which is weird because my husband, I never tell him the plan, but when it's with other people and other things, I love to know the plan. I love calendars, I love plans, schedules. So not knowing the plan, not knowing what's going on here, when am I going to get a child, when am I going to get pregnant, I would tell myself, you just need to calm down and trust, be still. I really learned and understood the art of being still and knowing that God was God. In those years, I waited. I didn't have my first son, well, my only son, my first child till 2015. And I got married in 2009. It's not long when compared to some people that waited 14 years, 11 years. But for me, who I thought if you spat on me, I'll get pregnant. I never had any of the issues people had. My period up till today is literally like clockwork. Like you could set a timer with it. So I never had those things that kind of prepared me for, oh, you may have issues conceiving, getting pregnant. So I just thought, come on, like everything that's happened to me in my life is going to be a walk in the park. And then I think God wanted to humble me. I was in Abuja at that time. And I remember there was a family that used to come to my prayer as a prayer group leader. You're making me remember things I honestly thought I'd forgotten. I say this with all the respect and love I have in my heart, but they were poor. They really didn't have that much. They were living in an uncompleted building. But they had three or four children. And in the midst of her coming to our prayer group meeting, in the midst of me having to pack rice from my house, pack beans, pack stuff, she got pregnant. And I remember very well that conversation I had with God. I said, I don't get it. I have a job. I have a husband. We have a house. We can take care of a child. Why? They can barely eat. Why are you giving them children? It was that season of my life. I always told people that if I had 2 questions to ask God when we get to heaven, because I believe there must be policies and processes in heaven as on earth, I would ask him, what's the policy on death? And what's the policy on who you give children to? Because sometimes it doesn't make sense, right? Like, is there criteria you have to fill? But I think what I learned, no, I don't think. I know that what I learned during that period was it's not about me. It's not about what I have. It's not about what I can do with my hands. And if I want to be honest with myself, that was probably when God started to teach me, especially being the kind of control person I am, that I will do what I will do when I'm ready. It's not how you want to plan it. And it's really carried on in my life. You've heard so many of my testimonies in my life. It's really God just saying, come back here. 2 plus 2 is not always 4 in my kingdom. Even though that's what makes sense to you, it's not going to work that way. So, yeah, back to the word trust. It would definitely be trust and just waiting.
Sometimes waiting is hard.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes waiting is so hard, especially when you feel
Oh my
you have
God.
done everything you're supposed to do. You are a quote unquote good person. You're a kind person.
Mm-hmm.
You have a lot to give. I don't have children, not for lack of trying, but I've also had this kind of thought. It was so easy for them, or why not me? And I don't ask those questions anymore. But it would be disingenuous of me not to say that I haven't felt a little bit angry, a little bit resentful at times.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, there's a plan, but trust.
Trust. We have this joke in Nigeria for those of you that are listening from the abroad. Does the process know we're trusting it?
Hey,
Trust the process, trust the process. Does the process actually know it's being trusted?
I love that.
in case it missed the memo, we're trusting it.
Trust the process.
Yeah.
So, if we jump another 10 years to 35, you're married at this stage. First child was
We really need a
no
calculator.
now.
Because I'm out there. 35 was
35,
what
because you said that 20, and after 25, you were getting married the next year. That's it. So by 35, you would have been married. Yeah. I think you had your first child by then. She's really looking at her calculator.
Yeah. I am looking at my calculator, people, and clearly I don't even know how to use the calculator because I'm getting 1948. So clearly, people, 20, 1990. But I cannot count. So good. I promise people I went to school. I promise. I really did.
Okay,
Right.
so 1990, I think will
Anyway.
help. 1990, 35. You were married.
And so that's not correct. It can't be
You're
1990.
the one that calculated it now.
This is wrong. It's obviously wrong. So that was 7 years ago. I know where I was. 7 years ago.
So,
I just told everybody my age. Oh God. Oh God. I promise you I look better than my age, guys. I promise.
all right,
Can go to my LinkedIn page and see.
7 years ago, when you were 35, let us agree on a few things.
Yeah.
You were married.
Yes.
You'd had your first child.
Yes.
What would Hannatu of today tell that person who was 35 7 years ago?
When I think of where I was, especially career-wise, motherhood, life, marriage, everything, I think I'll tell myself things are about to get a bit interesting. I probably thought that was my best life, right? I say things with deep respect and deep understanding, knowing that, everybody's walk in life is different, right? But sometimes you look at your life and you think, this is as good as it gets. And it's okay to think that way. It's really okay because you don't know. You don't know any better, but give it time. Things will change. So if I could look at myself at 35, I would tell her, hang on, things are about to get really interesting.
So you've used interesting a few times. For me, interesting is one of those words that has different meanings. And often when people say interesting, it's always because they don't want to be rude or they don't want to say it's bad. It's like you meet someone and they're like, how was that person? They're like, interesting.
Interesting.
How was that meeting? Interesting.
Interesting. Like I can't put my finger on it, but it's just interesting.
Exactly. So you said things were about to get interesting. Things were as good as they could get. And were they?
Well, like I said, at that time, I thought they were. I thought, I have a really good job. I have the children I've been waiting forever for in my mind. I was good with my marriage. I was good. And then I started to look for a new job. And then I got a new job and things moved. And then I don't use the word lost, but then that job was taken away. Or God decided it was time for that job to end. Let me put it that way. Because like I said, I don't lose things. If it's mine, it's mine. God decided, you know what, we're done here. Let's move on. At that point, just like you said, interesting. Interesting doesn't mean amazing. Interesting doesn't always mean, things are going to get great. No. Things are going to get to a point where you're like, what is going on? Like, did I miss something? Is there a memo you kind of forgot to pass my way? Right? So, interesting because it's a case of just hang on. Things are about to get interesting and just watching things fall in place. I was telling somebody or a group of people that it's amazing how the problem you're going through right now, the answer to it started to fall in formation 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 2 years ago, yesterday, whatever. But it's amazing how things, when you look back, you start to think everything, like how they say, all these steps led me to this. If it wasn't interesting, there wouldn't be a story to tell, right? Think of me and you and I. I promise we can speak English. But look at you and I, right? Look at how many times I heard your voice. I saw Anita the day she got married.
That still blows my mind. We were not friends. Right? We did not know each other.
I went to the markets for something random. I spent that whole day, and the car just zipped by me, and I just thought that is so cool. And find out years later, and we found out by accident that that was you. And I think I was just you guys a random person I saw in the car, right?
I was that cool person.
You were that cool person.
I am
right?
still that cool person. Just
okay, calm down. Calm down. Right. So the point is, our friendship blocks before I met you and before we became friends, before we became into Hannatu, they kind of fell into place years ago. So yeah. So interesting is not always good. Like they have to say it. Interesting is not always good. It's not always happy, joyful, exciting news. I'm pleased to announce. But interesting is what is the part of your story.
But interesting isn't always bad either. Do you know what I mean?
No.
Interesting.
Interesting. So just hang on. Things are about to get interesting.
I absolutely love that. Everything we need to solve our problem, we already have. We just need to trust ourselves, trust our instinct, call it into existence. If these things are already in place, do you think we have much agency in determining the outcome?
To a certain degree, yes. You can never rule out the part of the spiritual, and I'm saying this broadly, and I will give you a very practical example. I'm very big on career visibility. I'm very big on how you project yourself. So if you tell me, oh, Hannatu, I'm looking for a job, I'm blah, 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 first thing I'll ask you is, let's see your LinkedIn profile. If your LinkedIn profile is not saying what you're doing, how is anybody supposed to hire you? So that's where the spiritual kicks in, because someone can say, oh, I got my job without a LinkedIn profile. Fine. There's that. But to a certain degree, there is a responsibility on your part. Do you understand? There is a certain responsibility for you to put in the work. Everything else would be the grace that carries. We go in front of church and give the testimony. God gave me this job. But if you're not doing the work, you're going to get fired.
Yeah. You're so wise. Why don't we have these conversations more often when we do get to share these insights,
I tell people, I say, sometimes when I listen to myself speak or when I'm presenting, I have like an almost out-of-body experience. And I'm looking at myself like, is that me? Like, am I? Because deep inside, I know how serious I am. But sometimes when I'm speaking, I'm like, oh, that's me. People actually listen. Oh, wow. I'm making sense to you guys. It's one of those things you learn to be grateful for. You don't assume it, that I woke up this way, which is part of the level of responsibility you have. Preparing yourself for things so that when the opportunity presents itself, you're ready. Yeah. The worst thing that can happen to anybody is an opportunity literally presents itself and you're not ready. You live with that regret forever.
No regret.
No regrets. And yes, this is a life of no regrets. We don't regret. I do regret one thing, but it's nothing major.
You have to tell me now. Tell about me.
No, I actually will. This was years before I met my husband. I can't remember. I remember my cousins and I, or some of my friends, my two cousins and I, we had said, oh, nobody's toasting us. What's going on? So we said, let's do prayer of agreements. So we prayed. And like 2 days later, one guy started toasting. This guy hot toasts. You're like, what's going on with this boy? Like, I still remember his name, David. So in case you're listening, David, I still remember and you annoyed me. Anyway, so David was toasting me, blah, 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 blah. And I remember waking up one morning, trust the process, with a heavy feeling in my spirit that I needed to run away from him. And I was thinking, why? He's fantastic. He ticks all the boxes. He's working. He's a Christian, blah, blah, blah. He ticks all the boxes. I was looking for a toaster. I prayed. He appeared. Come on. Right? And something just kept saying, you need to run away. You need to get as far away from this boy as possible. And I can't remember that day. We went somewhere. I don't know. I still can't tell you the whole story. But it involved me taking off either my slippers And I left that restaurant
Uh-uh.
without my shoes on. It wasn't even big fight. It wasn't fight. It wasn't dramatic. But it was like an argument, and I just said, as in, what's going on? I beg you. We went, either maybe he was holding my slippers with joke or that kind, you're not going anywhere. So, do you remember what I said about how my mother raised me? In that kind, somebody's custodial son. I'm not even sure if I had my car or if I took a cab. I can't remember. All I know is I went to my house that day. That evening, my random cousin, came to visit us, and we were just gisting, and she was talking about her friend that was in England with a child that had special needs and another child that was having surgery. Some really pathetic sob story, and how the husband is here in Abuja misbehaving. And she said, something that foolish David. Eh? Anytime.
It's a lie.
Anytime. I said, wait. Excuse me, sorry, excuse me, please. Which David? Describing. And because it was the same church, I knew the red flags, bing, everything went up. He was the guy was married. His family was in England. His wife was struggling with a child that had special needs. One child had a surgery in there. I'm some really pathetic stuff. And I just thought, so now go back to me hearing the Spirit tell me to run away. That was it. Do you understand? So if I can tell you, I have zero regrets in this life. Zero regrets. Nothing. I don't remember things to even ponder on them too long. But that one, sometimes I can be taking a shower and I just remember, and I just go.
You know.
So yeah.
I often say no regrets. However, if I was to think about my dating history, but they made it to who we are today, you know? So everything happens for a reason, but...
They do.
No. I remember there was this guy that I didn't even know why I entertained him. I tried to cook for him, and I was at the final stages, and things weren't just coming together, and he was in the kitchen with me. And I was like, look, can you just step out? I just need to focus and try to fix what it is. So he stepped out, and I closed the door. Next thing, I now heard him praying that if you're trying to poison me, God, I rebuke the poisons, whatever juju you're putting inside that food. I was like, me? Honestly. And then I think he even asked me for money.
I have questions.
He asked me to lend him £250 at the end of that night.
He asked to borrow money
after accusing me of putting juju in his food. So, yeah.
He didn't know. Anyway, let's not talk too much.
Hannatu of today, 2025. Baby girl, what are you saying to yourself today?
Be mindful. Be present, because it's very easy, especially in this age and this life that we now live, to get so caught up in everything else, social media, life, activities. And I'm learning to see life and the world through the eyes of my children. I learned it this summer. And I learned that the most expensive things we did for them during summer were not the things they talk about the most. And you remember what I said about me having a schedule? I had a whole calendar. I had a literal calendar of activities. Everybody knew about the calendar. They knew exactly. So they had activities back to back, as in I was so proud of myself. I deserved like Mother of the Year. And what my children remember is the free playground.
Really?
The free slip outside in church. Yep. Literally free. That kind of just drove to a playground. Like everybody else's child was there. Not the things where I had to pay an access fee, how much money we spent in different places, no. So learning to be present and learning to be grateful for the little things. Yeah, learning to be grateful for the gift of friendship, just me and you talking. Learning to be grateful for that. Learning to be just grateful for whatever situation you're in. Learning to be present and find the joy in it. We're the generation we're always looking for the next high.
Yeah.
We're always looking for the next achievement. LinkedIn has destroyed our mentality, and I love LinkedIn, but it has. Because everything is, you're bombarded with, I'm excited to announce, I'm happy to announce, I'm excited to, and you ask yourself, what's going on? What's going on with my life? So learning to see that there is joy where you are. That's what I'm telling myself, right? And also be present, enjoy where you are right now. Just enjoy it. You're not gonna have it again. I'm not gonna have the babies at this age. I'm not gonna have the time I have now. So just be present. Yeah, that's what I'll tell myself.
The small things. Yeah, the small things.
And then I should say something more serious.
No,
But yeah,
no.
I think that would be it. Yeah.
So thinking to the future, what would Hannatu say to her 65-year-old self?
Who have you helped?
Hmm.
You helped. We need to be able to track it. We need to be able to count, not count per se, but, and it's not from a prideful point of view. No, it's not from to aggregate anything to myself. It's to show that I actually did something with the life I was given. I heard we had an event recently. One of the keynote said, "You will give account," which we all know. You will give account of this life you've been given, and not necessarily in the spiritual sense, but also with the resources and the influence you've been given in your career, in the physical, in the marketplace. So, who have you helped? Who can point and say, "My life literally changed because of you"? And I'm sorry to say, if you can't find one person, 5 people, you need to ask for a few more years. One of the things I live by, it's on my phone case, is Matthew 5:16. I'm a very spiritual person. Let your light so shine so that people can give glory to God, to your Father in heaven, so people can look at your Father in heaven and give glory to Him. And I look at it in the way that give glory to Him because their life is better because I'm in it. So you have to look back and ask, who have you helped? I look at my mother. Like I said, I'm an only child. There are things that my mother says, or she says, "Oh, I want this thing," and she can sit down in her bed and say, "I think I need 100,000." And it's 2 days, somebody calls her and says, "Mama Natu, oh ma, I just something laid in my heart." And you're wondering, what kind of witchcraft is this? But I know it's seeds she's sown. I know, without a question or a shadow of doubt. I tell people my mother is alive, one, on the grace of God, and two, on the back of people's prayers. Because by all accounts, every single account on this earth, you have been through it with me. My mother should be not here just because of her health challenges. And like I say everything I say with utmost respect and appreciation for what happened. But trust me, I have been to hospitals, I have sat through surgeries. People can't survive a fraction of what she's taking. So when I tell people that she's riding on the back of people's prayers, people she's helped, people she's trained, and I'm saying this to anybody, you don't have to hold a mic, right? You don't have to speak on a panel. You don't have to be an influencer to have somebody that can say this to you. Your nanny, your drivers, the people in your circle, anybody, literally anybody that has come in your path has come in for a reason. So who can say, "Oh, this person has changed the trajectory of my life," just because they exist or just because of how they helped me or supported me? So yeah.
Whoever you helped. I love that. So what are the things you wish women spoke about more?
All right. So the first one would be the elusive work-life balance.
Okay.
I'm glad more people are talking about it, but we didn't have enough people talking about it. So a lot of us struggled through and felt guilty and kind of had to find our own way and find our path. So I'm happy that more people are speaking about it. I wish more women spoke about the power play in a male-dominated field. We don't talk about it enough. We don't.
I'm curious. I want to know more.
So when I was with Oracle, I remember. So let me back up. I've always, just now that I have team members that are younger than me, and it's a bit of a shock. Like, I actually have people I'm older than. I've always been the youngest, or at least one of the youngest in the room. A lot of my team members have always been older than me, had older children than mine. Like, I've always just been the youngest. So there's, first of all, that's, who is she? Why is she my boss? And then having to kind of assert yourself without being a black angry woman. So there's that. But then when you work in tech, especially, where a lot of the people you're speaking to are men. So I remember I had, my team member had a customer, and they said, if you want to get anything out of this chief from one of the big banks, they usually hang out in his house Friday at 11.
11 in the morning.
Should be to be better. 11 in the night, so yeah. That's how you get anything out of that guy. And they kept saying it. So I said, when can we meet him? "Oh no, and I said, we can't. I'm going to his house later in the night." Those kind of conversations, and you're like, how do I navigate this? So we go to the meet for a meeting that day in this bank before we even get to see him. I remember we came out of the elevator and one of the senior guys that was supposed to meet us from the chief's office came, and himself and my team member were walking ahead of me and they were talking, and I almost felt like I was trailing behind. And I realized in that instant I had kind of lost the power play, which is really unspoken. I would hear my team member say, "Oh, this Hannatu, I work with Hannatu. Not Hannatu is my manager." See that power play? It's not disrespectful. It's not rude. So there was that already. And then we were now going to this gentleman who they had already had to the weekend before. So there was already that chummy old boys club going on. So I walked straight up to him and I say, Oga XYZ, I heard that the joint to be is your house Friday night. So what time am I arriving? Madam, no. And I think it took him off. Like, I said, I'm actually not joking. What time do you need me to be there? And he was like, no, it's not like that. What will I tell you? I said, my husband understands as well, you know? So those kind of dynamics, we don't talk about it enough. So people are very unprepared when they get there.
I would agree.
They think it's just get the promotion. They forget that when you get there, there's a level of politics. Yesterday, I was talking to a friend, and her daughter was there. Her daughter is doing an internship in an oil company. And I said, how are you finding it? She said, everybody's so sweet. They're all so nice. And I felt like, And she said, they're all so nice. Everybody just really friendly, and they answer all my questions. And she said, I said, Hannatu, why is your face like that? I said, do you want me to tell you the truth? She said, yes. I said, it's because you're not senior enough.
Oh.
That's why they're also sweet.
Oh, Hannatu.
Anita, it's the truth. Anita, that's the truth. You're not a threat.
Yeah.
You're not a threat. You're an intern. Of course they'll be sweet to you. She said, even the gates man, everybody's just happy to be working there. Oh my God. Get to a senior position. Some people won't greet you because you took their job, or you took what they thought was their job. Right? So it's to understanding that office politics, understanding how to navigate, understanding how to assert yourself without losing yourself is something we don't talk about enough. If I was to start a podcast like my senior here, anytime,
thank you.
That's really what I'll talk about. That's really what I'll talk about.
Good point. We should be encouraging people from as early as possible to get mentors who can really guide them and be honest and open about the power play and the politics, not to scare people or make people feel they need to be sharp and you have to be a man, as it were, but just so that you can understand how best. So you recognize it, and you also recognize when you're starting to lose yourself because you think you have to play the game a certain way, and then you change. I was listening to a podcast, I think it was Emma Green, and she was talking about her leadership style. Things were happening at work, and my leadership style was a bit more abrasive. So it was a reminder, be kind, lead with grace, leave people better than as you found them.
Yes.
I'm looking at you with new eyes. New eyes.
Yes. I'm not the one that has the podcast, by the way. You're the genius that has the podcast.
I like listening to people. I learned so much. And I also hope that by them talking and reflecting, they've realized how much they've learned along the way and how much advice they can give people who were in similar situations. So, yeah, I'm really enjoying this journey.
I'm happy.
So, unfortunately, all good things must come to an end. I hate that saying, but it is true. However, before we come to an end, we're going to ask you some rapid-fire questions.
Okay, let me brace myself.
They're not that bad. All right, don't overthink it.
Okay.
Heels or flats?
Flats. I've become a sneaker girl.
Your favorite time of the day?
Night. I'm a night owl. Very bad habits, but I'm a night owl.
Where do you do your best thinking?
At the gym.
What's your favorite saying or quote?
I don't know. That's not a rapid fire question. I have too many.
Is that your answer? Your favorite quote or saying is I don't know?
My favorite thing, something I say a lot, last will be alright.
There we have it. And finally, what's the best compliment you have received?
You have a beautiful family.
Oh, And you do. Oh, what you do have a beautiful family. You believe that, right? Because you look pensive. You're like...
I do. No, I do. I do. I do. I think that's one thing. But if a close, very, very close second to it would be, you have either when people say you have no idea how you've helped me, or when people say, I prayed for someone like you and you came. Someone said that to me today. And yeah, someone said that to me today. She said, I prayed for you and you came. And I'm like, I did?
That's
okay.
Lovely
All
as
right.
well.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a close second. That's a close second. Close second. Oh, Hannatu, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. This was fun. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. This queen that's asked.
Oh, I see what you did there. Yeah. Maybe I'll have a separate section. This queen asked. Ooh. Oh, okay. Yeah, you heard it here first, people.
You see how we help?
This queen asked.
We're very mindful.
And I say thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anita. You know I love you.
Oh, love you too.
Speaking to Hannatu reminded me of something my Auntie Shade said. Never give anyone a reason to curse you. The opposite can be said here. Always give people a reason to bless you. Granted, being intentional is hard work, especially because there are so many things that can take our attention, but we should always try. As always, I'd love to know what you got out of this conversation, so drop me a message at thisqueensays@gmail.com. Till next time, thanks for listening. It means so much. Bye.